I guess I'll see you next lifetime. Maybe we'll be butterflies. That song came in for me today, collective. Next lifetime, Erica Badu, okay? I feel like it's kind of setting the tone for the week and the work that the collective has to do. We're just going to be pulling some cards, dropping in for an energy read of what the week has ahead. I do say, look up the lyrics to that song, maybe give that song a listen. I mean, Erica Badu is fabulous, all right? So, you should always make some time in your day to listen to Miss Badu, all right? But aside from that, I do also think that there's a message in those lyrics for the collective. And maybe some of you are in kind of like a nostalgic space and you're looking back at, connections you once had, people who were once an important part of your life, but now there's, time and space in between you all. Maybe you're taking a break from some people in your life and just sort of sinking into yourself. Maybe you're spotting also in this time of self-reflection, kind of creating room for yourself, areas of your life that are sort of like on a loop. I kind of like got this image in my head of a record with a skip in it, like you're realizing how much the current people, places, things that are in your life right now remind you of a time you used to be in back in the past. Yeah, and it's interesting, just as I said that, the Six of Cups came out, which is all about a past card, and maybe you're sort of missing the more simple times, like when things were just easy, the days of your youth when you didn't have to think about things so much, nothing was too serious. We do see there is this theme coming up. This is sort of the crossing influence this week, collective, with this Six of Cups energy here. We are looking back at the past. We're looking back at the relationships of our past. We're looking back at our childhood. We're looking back at themes that have run through our lives, things that are going on in our lives right now that bear a striking resemblance to the past, right? And there's messages here for us. These are, sort of like samskaras is what came through. And if you're not familiar with what a samskara is, a samskara, the best way I can describe it is like a psychic imprint, of different experiences that you've been through that have had a real emotional impact on you. A lot of times, samskaras are related to our pains, our wounds, our traumas, and these actually manifest physically. In Ayurveda, we look at everything in terms of mind, body, spirit. So what we digest physically, with our digestion, with our Agni, our digestive fire, we also digest with that same inner fire, that same Agni, that same transformational energy, our emotional experiences, our thought patterns. There is no separation, mind, body, spirit. Our experiences with others, these are all things that digest, okay? And one thing we need to look at with undigested experiences, emotions, thought patterns, and on a very practical level, even food, is the accumulation of ama, because ama is that which is undigested. Now, on a physical level, on a practical level, ama in the body creates blockages. Things don't flow where ama is present. It slows everything down. It puts out your digestive fire. It puts out that Agni. And Agni is needed for transformation in the life, all right? It's needed for the transformation of what you take in, what you nourish yourself with into viable fuel source. All right. It's the same with the rest of your life though. Okay. You need Agni. You need Agni to move forward in your life. Agni, that inner fire, is what lights a fire under our butt, right? It gets us moving. It gets things into action. It's the action, right? It's actually making stuff happen, taking it from just an internal experience, an emotional experience, something we hold close to us in our inner world, or something we think about, ruminate on a lot, and we actually put it into action and make it manifest. So, sometimes along the way, we have to clear out ama. And samskaras are another kind of like ama, if you want to think of it that way. It's like, a skip in the record, right? That came in. When a record's playing and there's a skip in it, no matter what, you come to that place in the record and it's just going to sit there over and over again. No matter how many times you start the record over from the beginning, once it gets to that spot, it's going to skip and it's going to get stuck there, okay? It's the same thing with ama, and it's the same thing with samskaras. We have an emotionally traumatic experience. We have something that was a painful experience. It deeply affects us, right? And then it gets locked in our psychology, We form a neural loop around it. And it's almost like you can start to form like scar tissue there, just a psychic scar tissue, okay? And so every time, your brain gets ruminating, you get stuck in your head, okay? And your brain starts thinking about things. Every time it comes to that particular neural loop, it's just like a skip in the record where that samskara is, you can get stuck. And I feel like a lot of you are kind of noticing the ways that certain aspects of how you live your life and how you express yourself in the world are stuck on a past point. And there's an identity shift that needs to happen with your over identification with an aspect of your past, how you were in the past, how things were for you in the past, what your relationships were like for you in the past. There's really a need to go into that place where the stuck point is and clear out that ama, clear out that which is undigested. So I really feel what is coming forward right now is this need for the collective to hold space for their past and to understand the way that they actually are holding themselves back by staying locked in this mindset that maybe it had relevance at one time, but it no longer does with where you are now. You're kind of like stuck on this skip. And it's not until you either, buy a new record or if we want to look at more modern, okay, in terms of ways to play music, a CD with a scratch in it. You can go buy a CD repair kit, if you got a skip in your CD and you can fix your CD. Well, maybe it's time to do some repair work on those samskaras, on those neural loops that have been programmed in your brain that have you overly identifying with your pain, overly identifying with wounds from the past, overly identifying with the past to the point where you're kind of getting stuck there. And it's time to really hold respectful space around the past so you can let this go. You can let this energy go. People can sometimes get in a place where they live within their wound and it doesn't allow them to really move forward. And yes, I understand that we're in a big Pluto retrograde cycle right now. It is about holding space for the shadow. It is about the unconscious becoming conscious. And it also has a lot to do with the past, and it has a lot to do with the shadow of the past, things that have held us back. And if you think about it, if you're moving towards the sun, right? And that's what we're all moving towards right now, collective. We're moving towards that sun energy The Sun Tarot card is not out here on the board, but I'm really getting this memo, okay? And it was 10 on the clock when I said this. So 10 is all about, first of all, the completion of the old cycle so that a new one can begin with that one energy. And this completion and stepping into that new beginning is what brings the gifts. Zeros in numerology are all about spiritual gifts, okay? So it's really time for us to wrap up these old cycles, not get stuck in them, wrap them up. And if you think about it, when we're moving towards the sun, when we're moving toward that dawning of a new day, right? This new beginning energy in our life, our joy, our happiness, what is going to fulfill us? When you're facing the sun, it casts a shadow behind you, right? So that shadow, it's always with you, you know, but it's really about what are you going to choose to face? Are you going to turn your back from the sun and stay fixated on your shadow? Stay fixated on the stuff of the past that maybe brought you to your knees at one point, and it was 11:11 on the clock when I said that, okay? 11:11. What direction are you going to face? The sun's up ahead. If you don't know about the sun in tarot, the sun is like the most happy, exuberant, joyful, playful, young-spirited card in the entire deck of the tarot, you know? It's about success, it's about attainment, and it's about arriving in that place where you just feel good. Life feels good. Life's sweet, you know? It's like that ojas, that nectar of life, you know, that just fills your heart center, makes you feel so grateful to be alive. Like that's what you're heading towards. That's what's up ahead. Are you going to keep turning your back to the sun and looking back at the past? You know, next card we got here is the Seven of Cups. Be mindful of the choices you're making right now and where you're choosing to focus your energy. Take this moment, okay? Take this reflective pause, okay? Look at the grace of this figure's posture. There's lots of different choices to make. There's lots of different avenues you could pursue. Maybe you're actually seeing this in your, you know, material surroundings. Maybe you do have a lot of choices to make about your life and how you move forward. What works for you, what doesn't, what you're going to pull in and what you're going to release. You know, this could be coming up for you this week. Don't be in such a rush. You know, don't worry about missing out on something if you don't reach out and grab it right now. What's meant for you is never taken from you, right? What we need on our paths for our growth, our healing, the integration of the lessons that we need to learn during our time here on this earth, you know, it always finds you. It never is taken from you. It never goes anywhere. You have time to really sink in right now and make that choice from the place inside of you that can be aligned with what is truly in harmony with your purpose. You know, you can rush into things, act in haste, right? Maybe acting out of places inside of you that you have unresolved issues with concerning the past, right? Old patterns of behavior, old identities you have taken on, old ways of seeing things that can really like limit your perspective. Also limit your options, limit your choices, really. If you're somebody who has, you know, kind of come up with this, the other shoe is going to drop mentality, you could really limit yourself in what you could create in your life moving forward if you choose to stay stuck in this old kind of past template, you know, that you've slapped on your reality, and it's kept you in this like very confined border as far as what you can really experience in this life, your level of success, your level of fulfillment, your level of enjoyment. All right. So, take your time, take this break, go ahead, really continue that work that we're all in right now, which is about closing out the old cycle. Let yourself feel what you need to feel. Drop into those places, that have held you back in the past. Really get to the root of what were those issues. What is the common theme that's running, through your life that you can sort of find the connecting point with the past? How is the past still influencing how you're moving right now in the present? And really think about that. Because if you want something different for your future, you have to start acting out of a new place. You have to start acting out of a more spontaneous place, which means you can't be getting stuck in those neural loops where you got those samskaras. Self-care level for clearing samskaras. Nausea is great, okay? That's when you put a little warm oil. You can just put it in the palm of your hand, okay? You inhale it in your nostrils. You can massage it in a little bit. You can do some breath of fire work. Not if you have high blood pressure, okay? Or if you're pregnant, don't work with breath of fire. If you have like any kind of like cardiovascular conditions, it's best avoided. But Kapalabhati, it's a skull shining breath, okay? It like opens up these upper channels so it can put you in alignment with your higher vision, your higher consciousness, your inner guidance, as well as connecting you to spirit. It's also known as breath of fire, and that's done by making your stomach like a bellows. So you like inhale, and when you exhale through the nose, you pull your navel in towards your spine. And you get a rhythm going with this breath. It takes practice, okay? And the exhalation through the nose, it's all nose breathing only, is forceful, okay? And you get a rhythm with it. It's almost like a locomotion, okay? It's like a locomotion. It helps build that inner fire, that Agni that I was talking about, that's needed for transformation. And that's the thing. You can offer up your samskaras onto the pyre of Agni for transformation, and the breath is a vehicle for doing that, okay? So like as you work through this stuff, as you're working through these old neural loops that you need to clear this, repetitive thought patterns around, these repetitive emotional loops, these trauma loops, some call that PTSD. This is, it's all interconnected, okay? You can work with this breath. So I'll demonstrate just so you can see. That's breath of fire. Whew. And it gets the Agni going. You'll feel the heat building. Okay? So this is something you can do. Do the nausea, go into Kapalabhati, that breath of fire. And then you can finish it with this, I forget the name of the particular pranayama, but you put your hands over your ears to silence out all the inner noise. And you take a breath in, and when you release it, you hum, but you keep your mouth closed, so it looks like this. Okay, and you can do like 3 rounds of that. And this is something you can do to work with your lymph system, all right, which is all this upper channel lymph system. And it can do so much for getting those stuck places moving again. The lymphatic system, the rasa, the river of life, We need it to flow for us to be in our emotional flow and for us to be in the flow of our life. Remember, we are part of nature. And I saw 20 on the clock when I said that. Okay. So that's that 2 energy, 0, those spiritual gifts, right? And also the starting point, the ultimate starting point, and the connecting point. It's all one: mind, body, spirit. And also, the universe, the earth, the cosmos. It's all one great big energy, right? We know this. Scientifically, we know this. It's all made up of atoms: positive, negative, neutral energy. It's all just energy. It's the same stuff that makes us, is the same thing that makes a tree, is the same thing that makes those stars that you see when you look up at the heavens at night. It's all interconnected. So when you do this work, when you get the river of life flowing, when you get your inner ecology flowing, everything in the outer world, in the outer ecology, also gets moving. So if you're feeling like you're stuck in the past, try working with this a bit, okay? If you feel like you have stuff coming up for you emotionally, or you're reflecting a lot on the past, maybe there's things that you haven't fully integrated and processed yet. 21:21 on the clock when I said that. That's 3/3 energy, okay? So it's also about, tuning in to your inner guidance, and also tuning to your guides and tuning to helpful people in your life. Maybe you need to get some support if you are constantly ruminating on past traumas. Maybe it would be helpful to go and get some counseling, or look into resources of support. Maybe, go and get an Ayurvedic consultation. You can work with an Ayurvedic practitioner. I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, so I am available for that too. But this wasn't a plug. This is just something that's coming in. It could be like, look for a support group too, How can you build community? How can you connect with other people? How can you maybe let the helpful people in your life, your friends, your loved ones, Maybe there's somebody that you need to talk to. Maybe there's somebody that, you need to kind of close the circle with, and you need to have the courage to step forward and do that work on a practical level, But I say before, that's interesting that I pulled it upside down, even though it came right side up. You might be in this place a little bit. You might be in a place of confusion and feeling uncertain about, I don't know how to move forward. I don't know how to process what I'm feeling. I don't know how come I keep creating these same scenarios in my life over and over and over again, just with different people, different places, different things, but it's the same old shit. It's the same old story, okay? You do it by eliminating the distractions and tuning your energy within, and sinking into your body and sinking into your feelings, and allow what really needs to come forward, the essence, the feeling to come forward, okay? Don't get attached to the story. The story is not important. The story is not important for healing. What's important is that you hold space for the emotions that want to be heard and honored. You don't need to go into your whole, rhetoric around why that pain is there or why the anger is there. It's pointless. And it was 23:55 on the clock when I said this. And maybe this is what's keeping you stuck. When you do have your wounds surface, when you do have your pain surface, you have to tell the story about it. This is here because this happened, and so did this to me, and it made me feel like this. And that's what's keeping you stuck. That's what's keeping you going back to that skip, in your psychology. That's what's building up layer upon layer upon layer of that samskara, that psychic wound, that psychic imprint. And it's what's keeping you living in the past. So maybe it's time to transform that energy now, okay? And instead, when the pain surfaces, drop the story. Just say, hello, pain. I'm here to honor you. I'm here to let you have your voice. and let your pain or let your anger, whatever shadowy emotion surfaces, you know, your insecurity, whatever it may be, okay? Let it rise to the surface and let yourself feel it and release the emotions around it without getting into the story, and work with those pranayama techniques and the nausea, okay? And if you do that simple little ritual that I just showed you, it only takes a few minutes, but it has such a powerful effect. It really clears these upper channels, and you're also going to have a lot more clarity, you know, because it helps keep ajna, you know, the third eye, clear, okay? So you'll be able to see things clearly and make an informed choice. And in doing this, you know, it leads to fulfillment. It leads to you aligning with what will actually give you fulfillment, what will actually give you happiness. And it was 26 on the clock when I said that. Okay, that's 8 energy. It's stepping into your power. It's the actual manifestation of this reality, okay, that comes with double spiritual gifts, with that double zero energy there, okay? So this is about really making a choice about where you're going to focus your energy and what you're ready to receive. Do you want to keep, you know, going over the same old song, hitting the same skip in the record? Or are you ready to turn away from the shadow and turn toward the sun? Let that be behind you. Let that fall behind you and keep your eyes focused on what wants to come in for you, which is this fulfillment, which is wish fulfillment with this 9 of Cups and your happiness. It's all about where you choose to focus your energy right now, though, okay? I do want to pull one of these white light oracle cards here and just see what the overarching theme for this week is for the collective, and get one final message coming in here to support everybody in the work that is ahead for us this week. So let's just see. These cards are pretty new. I've just started working with them recently, so they don't shuffle as smoothly as my tarot cards. But I like this deck. The artwork is really beautiful. And it does have a wolf on the back of each card. And, you know, wolf spirit is all about, you know, finding your path. And it's also about aligning with your instincts, listening to your intuition, picking up the scent of the trail, right? It's not about necessarily having the answers on an intellectual level. So don't get stuck in your head. Feel your way through. You know, pick up the scent on the wind. Listen to, you know, what your heart is telling you. And, you know, maybe go howl at the moon if you have some emotions to release. Maybe vocalize them. There's a lot coming up around vocalization, sound right now. And I feel like it would be very empowering if you released it vocally yourself, you know? So head out into nature somewhere, you know? Look up at the moon, drink in that cooling energy, and let it just, you know, be like a salve to the places inside of you that feel raw, the places inside of you that feel inflamed, and invite in, you know, that like mama's milk is like the image I have. It's just like that lunar essence, that energy is just so much like that silky, you know, soft, feminine beauty. You know, sink into that a little bit more, you know. Maybe you're getting a little fried out on the fiery emotions, and need to invite a little of that soothing energy in. And this message is really like taking its time to come out here. But yes, you know, the wolf is all about the pathfinder and finding the way ahead. Oop, there, finally. Oh, ooh, yeah. Oh, look at this card. We got Archon Barbello. And look at that. There's a sun in middle of her chest. Look at that. She says, I am choosing me. I'm dropping into my heart. I am ready to receive happiness. I am ready to receive happiness. I am ready to let the light back in. And, breasts are all about nurturing, receiving nurturing. I think, there's this need to come into the softening energy and look at it, really like opens the upper channels there, and it gives wings, wings that carry you in the new direction. Such a beautiful message coming in. And this brings balance within the self, the feminine, the masculine. And when you have that, when you have the balance of your receptive and your active energies, that's when you can really manifest your dreams, your visions, your hopes for the future. And it's awesome when you step into this place of your center in the present and it all spirals out from you. Beautiful message. Welcome in the sun. Here comes the sun.